Good evening. I wanted to start documenting the progress that I'm going to be making on the Fiesta. So I have a 2018 Ford Fiesta that is my daily. I got it with the intention of not touching it. I thought it'd be fun, and because it's a Ford Fiesta, I'd leave it alone. It didn't last very long. It turns out the aftermarket for those things is almost as good as the Hondas, and so there's lots and lots of stuff you can do to them. I'm not really interested in doing bolt-ons anymore, but I'm always up for doing a flash if it's available. So I picked up the Cobb access port, and that was an easy, whatever it is, 30 horsepower. But I noticed that there's a function built in to the access port called speed density, or it's like APSD or whatever the acronym is. And basically what it allows is for you to run a speed density tune on your Ford Fiesta. And what that means is that the fueling control would be really, really simple, and it would be totally boost reference. So that's important for people like us, because that means that you can more easily add non-OE specific parts. So for instance, if you want to upgrade your turbocharger on a Ford Fiesta, you sort of really only have the choice of doing a hybrid, which is stuffing bigger guts into the same frame turbo. And that's great, it makes a bunch of power, makes okay power, but you're still limited to the frame size, and so they end up choking out real high, and that's why you gotta run these really complicated meth systems, which ironically I'm gonna end up running anyway. But the point I wanted to make was that these are eBay turbos. Yes, I know, but if by now you don't believe that they can make consistent, reliable power, you're lying to yourself. This was $130. Now my goal for this is nothing goes on the car unless I believe I can drive it for up to 50,000 miles, or whatever the life of the, I don't know. 50,000 miles is a fair bet. So to do that, I'm gonna run the stock exhaust manifold, and I'm going to create a flange, weld it, and then, this isn't the one, I have the other one downstairs, but I've got a TD04 flange to 3-inch wideband that I've been kind of shaping because obviously they're really rough. But yeah, the hot side of everything should be really straightforward. It's already a turbo manifold, so the manifold's plenty strong. I just gotta make sure the flange is on correctly and isn't gonna move. It's cast iron to stainless, so it's gonna be a bit sketchy, but it should still all work. Then the big one is the fueling. So I have control over the speed density system, which means I can control the injectors, but the problem is that it's not gonna be enough fuel. I'm gonna run out real quick once I start making any kind of power with this thing. The goal typically is to increase the fuel pump capacity and fuel injector size, and that's totally on the table. I'm sure it would upgrade me to pretty much, I think the high pressure pump in the injectors I was reading is up to 400 on E. So that's plenty for what I'm doing, so I'm running gas. To keeping with the spirit of the build though, I'm gonna go a little bit different. I'm going to try to run a methanol system to compensate for the fuel. So the trick I've been pondering here is I want to bring up the total richness of the mixture using the meth. So I create a homogenized mixture in the manifold premix. It brings that in, and then I just use the fuel injectors. Instead of trying to add fuel, I use them to trim it away. Meth has consistency issues. You have propagation problems. There's all sorts of problems you have to consider, but the manufacturers are putting it in their cars from the factory, so it's a safe bet that at least it works somewhat. Now granted, they're running water injection, but we'll see. So yeah, that takes care of fueling. That's hot side. I have a wideband and a 3D printed, just a little quick gauge pod that's going to fit This is the A pillar. It fits right here, nice and snug. Nothing special, I just mocked it up to get it done. So that's gonna have the wideband. I have an aftermarket wideband going. And yeah, that's it. I have a Snow Performance progressive controller sitting at the house that I have to mock up some brackets for. And you have to order a tank and some nozzles, but I'm about ready. The last piece of this puzzle is where I'm gonna put the nozzles. I purchased a aftermarket manifold. You'll never guess where. And I want to do manifold injection. I know I'm gonna have to figure something out for the charge air cooler so that it picks up the temperatures, but I really want to sneak it up under the manifold somewhere. I don't know if it's possible, but that's the plan. All right, so that's the build. I will keep you updated as we go.